Embarrassing moments led to a breakthrough. I'm Debbie Gertman, and this is Dina's story as told to Carolyn Seiler. Growing up, I never realized how human a teacher is in their lives and in the lives of their students. The first time I realized the humanity of one of my own teachers was in the 7th grade. It was a real shock. I went to see my brother, who worked in the local grocery store, and saw one of my teachers. In her hands, toilet paper. I was mortified. I looked away as fast as I could. I was so embarrassed. When I got home, exasperated, I told my mom what I saw. She shook her head and said, "Dina, you need to mellow out. You needed to see that, didn't you?" She was right. I did need to see that. I grew up in a small town and was raised by 2 parents who taught me to give teachers the utmost respect. I was taught to never question them and expected to only say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am in their presence. I never thought about the fact that they too were as human as I was. I never thought that I could relate to my teachers. From that point on, I realized that it was silly for me to have put my teachers up on such an unrealistic pedestal. Funny enough, the teacher that I had seen at the store became my favorite teacher. And as I worked through college and became a teacher myself, I modeled my teaching off of her. In class, she always wrote us little notes in the margins of our papers. We started a dialogue in my papers, and with time, we were able to see more of our similarities than differences. It was nice to see how we related in life and to learn we had been through some of the same things in high school and life in general. I kept every paper I ever wrote for her class. Her gesture always stuck with me. I find myself now writing in the margins of my own students' papers so they can have those personal moments with me too. Little did I know that this lesson of vulnerability from my favorite teacher would be applied in a much different way in the future for one of my biology classes. When I first became a teacher, I wanted to be and seem as professional as possible. As time went on, I mastered the content and became more comfortable, which was exciting, but wanted to find a way to have a better individual relationships with my students. One day, I was playing an episode of Forensic Files. This time we were still using VCRs. So I started the tape and began giving instructions while the introduction played in the background, just as I had done so many times before. But this time was different. As I was speaking, my students were completely riveted by the TV. I looked around the room and there were students who began to laugh. Others, they're horrified or in total shock. Confused, I looked behind me and saw that what was playing on the TV was not Forensic Files, but a video of me singing a song years ago. In the video, I was wearing a ball cap backwards with my glasses on and no makeup on as the camera was close up to my face. None of my students had ever seen me look so silly in my life. Mortified, I shut the TV off as fast as I could while my students lost it. Oh, I ducked behind my lab desk, not knowing how to recover from such an embarrassing moment. And after a few minutes, I stood up with my face bright red and not yet sure how to face my class. A boy then got up out of his chair and hugged me and said, "I so needed that today." I was having the worst day of my life, and now it is turning out to be the best day. That moment was my connector for that year and that class. Before that moment, I was known as the intimidating teacher because I always asked questions to try to figure out how much a student really knew. And for a lot of students, that is scary because no one likes to be wrong or give the wrong answer. For the rest of the year, that class knew if they gave the wrong answer, it was okay, because they had seen that I can embarrass myself and recover from it, so they could too. There were happy to know that they were not judged. The story soon became a piece of folklore in the school that new students year after year heard about. The vulnerability for my embarrassing moment paid itself forward 1,000,000 times, and I'm thankful for that. I've realized that sometimes I'm the only person who has told a kid all day to have a good day, or I may be the only person giving a student positive attention. Kids just want to feel safe, and if for 90 minutes a day, my students feel that no one is going to make fun of them or point out their weaknesses while they're learning, I've done my job. Thank you.